What is up? Check this out, A6600 from Sony. Let's go over the basics. APS-C 24.2 megapixel sensor. Let's zoom in that overhead camera, 5-axis steady shot inside. IBIS in here, microphone and headphone jack, and of course, we're shooting 4K. Now I keep hearing some mixed things. Ow! That cut my finger. Oh my God, this box cut me already. I didn't realize this was gonna be such a hazardous task. But let's crack this open here. Got some literatures. It does not come with a CD, so that's always good. I gotta take this off though, it's just too echoey. Here we are. First thing I'm noticing is this battery grip right here. It's definitely beefier, easier to grab onto. This looks like a new battery pack, 16.4 watt hours, so that's an improvement. This must be why the grip's bigger, huh? Got alternate eyepiece, and it looks like they just give you a USB cable and an AC adapter to charge this. So I think I'm gonna have to buy the charging unit separately because I don't always want to plug in the camera to charge these batteries. And then the lens, let's take a look. All right, so we got an 18-135 f3.5 to 5.6, and it looks like it has optical steady shot. So if I combine this lens with this camera, I should get stabilization in the lens, and then again on the IBIS on this body. I will take all the stabilization I can get. You got an APS-C size sensor, but I think that also kind of helps manage the size of the camera itself, because once you go full frame, not only are you talking about a slightly bigger body, but also a much bigger lens. But this definitely feels like a very manageable size. I wouldn't mind carrying this around all day. Now, the main reason why I really want this A6600 is because it doesn't have that 30-minute record limit like my EOS R does, and actually a majority of mirrorless cameras. Once you hit 30 minutes or even sometimes less than that, it cuts on its own. Now that's really gonna come into play this weekend because I want to help my friends film their weddings, so I just plan on throwing this camera up and hitting that record button on a tripod and then just walking away. In most cases, I wouldn't mind just walking over the camera and hitting cut and then restarting the clip every 30 minutes or so, but in this case, I really can't because I'm officiating the wedding. No, it's true, I'm legit. Look at this. This individual is official ministerial business. What? What is this, a parking pass? Oh yeah, I could park wherever. Like, look at this, certificate of marriage. All I gotta do is, put your full name there, and I'll pick one of your random friends to put in there and just marry. Anyways, let's get over to New York. You may now kiss the bride. Now, I did get a little bit worried at a point because where I planted this camera, I didn't realize it's actually very warm in that second floor. But then I started worrying about overheating because Sonys tend to overheat. So I was like, should I record in 4K? Maybe I should just leave it in HD. I don't know, but I just went with 4K 24 anyways. I hit the record button and I actually left this monitor out like that just to kind of help dissipate the heat a little bit. I hit record, I stepped away for about an hour and a half. And when I came back, I had my fingers crossed. I'm like, please still be on. And it was still on and it was still recording, so thank you, because this was really the only camera that was officially recording the whole thing. But anyways, it's freaking cold. Let's just go back to California. It's too cold out here. Woo! One of the things that really gives the A6600 the edge over the A6400, which is a little bit cheaper, is the built-in IBIS. So the sensor actually moves as the camera moves, reducing the camera shake. I've got the Tamron 28-75 on here right now, so the lens is not doing any of the stabilization. It's all here in the sensor. And if I'm holding it steady as a handheld and we look at the shots side by side, there's definitely a difference, especially once you get into 50mm without any sort of stabilization. I don't really think that footage is usable. I really would say put it on a gimbal or put it on a tripod. 50mm on here is equivalent to like a 75mm full frame, so that's pretty tight. But once you turn on the IBIS, I definitely think that footage becomes much more acceptable, especially in that tighter focal length. So I don't think it's like game-changing stabilization, but it's definitely nice to have. I like having that in here. But of course, there's nothing better than actually getting the camera nice and stable using a gimbal. So for any sort of slow motion, we're gonna have to ditch the 4K and go into full HD. And for super slow motion, we could shoot 120p and get 100 megabits per second. There's a slight crop in at 120p, but it's a pretty minimal crop, so you might not even notice it. But I definitely love having this 120 frame per second option. Pretty sweet, huh?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, by the way, this is Elysian Park. That's what this place is called. So if you're ever in town. Yeah, Dodger Stadium's just right on the other side of this hill, so especially if you come to a Dodgers game. Pretty cool spot.
Nice to meet you. I ran into...
Hi, what's your name?
Ariel.
Ariel, nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, so I was looking up gladiators and then I stumbled upon your video. And now here you are at the swing.
What do you think of the Gladiator?
The Gladiator?
Is it cool or does it look like a Lego car?
I think it looks like a Lego car.
To me, it's as sexy as a truck. has to have. Sorry, dude, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
Yes, Gladiator.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't get the Cybertruck, the Tesla Cybertruck?
Oh, that one's different.
Wait,
now,
you want the Cybertruck?
Now imagine the Cybertruck.
I would rather get the Cybertruck than this.
And if you love slow-mo, this is a must-have. I'm in video mode, but I can just switch that over to S and Q, and then all of a sudden I jump into 120p or whatever you set the slow-mo frame rate to. One weird issue that I kept having with the a6400 and the a7 III is that if you use the picture profile S-Log2, the autofocus would become really bad for some reason, so that's one of the reasons why I would avoid S-Log2. But on this camera, even if I shoot in S-Log2, the autofocus seems to be just as good as if I were shooting in the other picture profile, so that's great. Now, one of my favorite things about this, oh man, this lighting's harsh. Should we use that new Scrim Gem thing we got? That's a little bit better, huh? Okay, pull it out real quick. Without, oh yeah. It definitely helps. So this is 3/4 diffusion, but I also just bought this. This is 1 1/4 stops of diffusion. So this should be thicker and should soften things up real nice. 1 1/4 stops. All you need is a sheet of diffusion, this frame, and Sam to hold it all day.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Wait, if I do a walk-in, I'm gonna be in the sun for you're gonna have to follow me. And action. Now, the more I use this camera, the more I like it. And that was pretty good, man. First of all, I've ran this camera for hours and hours straight, and it hasn't overheated on me yet. So Sony definitely put some effort into improving that. But I did want to see what it would take to overheat it. So I put it in an incubator, set it to 38 degrees Celsius, which is just over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And while recording 4K at 100 megabits per second, it overheated just after 30 minutes. So yeah, it can overheat, but it's definitely an improvement. And also, using this battery, love this. This is a 16.4 watt-hour battery, so pretty significant upgrade here. And in 4K with this screen on, I can record non-stop for 3 hours and 18 minutes on one battery before the battery dies. 3 hours and 18 minutes on one battery, I mean, that's a huge upgrade from the a6400. And I also use this camera to try to record my 24-hour straight vlog. So I literally woke up in the morning, hit record, and tried to vlog with it for a straight 24 hours. And this was kind of the perfect camera for that because it doesn't have that 30-minute record time limit, and also with a pretty good battery life on its own. But you can also charge it through the micro USB while it's on and recording. So I basically attached a battery pack onto here, plugged it into USB, and I was able to literally keep this camera recording all day. Now, it did cut once on me, which is at 13 hours and 1 minute it cut. I did another test with it. It turns out 13 hours and 1 minute is the record time limit on this camera. So it's not no record time limit, it's 13 hours and 1 minute. But I don't think it's very often that you want to record 13 hours straight. You're probably gonna have to switch out the memory card before that. The only reason why I was able to record that much onto one memory card was because I was recording in the lowest possible resolution on this camera. How you doing, Sam?
Whew, I found my happy place. I'm just going through the motions.
Is it getting a little heavy?
I feel no pain.
Okay, good, cool, because we're about halfway through, don't worry. Now, of course, this has the flip up screen, which is not as good as the flip out screen in my opinion, but at least if you're in vlog mode, you can use it. But the hot shoe is right here on top of it, so if you put a mic on the hot shoe with the screen up, that's basically gonna block it. So I did get this cage for this camera. This is a small rig cage, and this gives you an extra cold shoe over here on the right, but also another one right here on the side. So there's two options to put your microphones if you decide to vlog, so it doesn't get in the way of your screen. Now, my buddy Terrell has the same type of setup, and he actually utilizes both cold shoes because he has this Rode Video mic wireless thing. I forget what it's called, the wireless Rode mic. But he uses this cold shoe for the receiver and this one for the microphone, because there's a microphone actually built into here, but then you could always pop it off and use it as a lav. So I thought that was a pretty good idea. And actually, Terrell's had this camera for a little while. Maybe I'll go ask him how he likes it. Let's go. Sam, you can put it down now.
Oh, thank God. I can't put my arms down.
Terrell, what's up?
Hey man, how's it going?
Good, man. Hey, you have an a6600, right?
As a matter of fact, I do right here.
My main reason for buying this was probably that no record limit.
Yeah, my A7 IIIs and my A7R3 both have 30-minute record limits, and I don't have to worry about that anymore, so that's great.
And the new battery on this thing's great, huh?
Sony did something right with the batteries, and since all of my cameras take the same battery, it's amazing. Like 1 or 2 can last me the entire day.
Now, if people were wondering like, hey, should I buy the a6400 or a6600? would you say it's worth the extra money for the A6600?
I just opted to take the 6600 because it has IBIS and it takes the bigger battery that you don't need to carry multiple ones of. The 6400 doesn't have those things. So I feel like it's a little bit of a negative that I didn't want to have to deal with.
One thing I do like about the A6600 is that there's a whole bunch of lenses that cover APS-C size sensors only, and you could take advantage of that by getting some lenses that are smaller and more powerful. But of course, it only covers APS-C, so there's that downside. You can't use that same lens on full frame. But if you kind of invest into the APS-C size sensor world by getting the lenses for APS-C, like, you can get it to be pretty powerful.
No, I definitely agree, and there's nothing wrong with the quality of APS-C cameras and lenses either. So it's definitely a really good quality like camera for that's smaller, that works with smaller lenses. You won't have as much bulk in the end.
Now, Sony's always been good with low light, and this is no exception. So ISO 500, super clean. Then we jump up to 2000, and it still looks pretty clean. But if you look really, really close at ISO 500, you get a tad bit more detail in the fur. ISO 6400 is kind of like my cap that I usually try to stay under. ISO 12800, I mean, I only go up there when I'm desperate. But here it looks okay enough. If you look at this next to the ISO 500, you definitely notice significantly less detail, but still, it's not bad for what it is. ISO 25600, everything just kind of blah, blah, blah. Generally speaking, as long as you have a fairly fast lens, you never really have to go that high, even if you're in a dark parking lot. My full frame Canon EOS R that I'm filming on right now, I've always considered this to be a really good low light camera, but I think the A6600 is even better. Looking at ISO 2000 footage, there's definitely a bit more noise in the shadows of the EOS R here, and going up to 12,800, I would say they're actually really close. The A6600 looks better in some cases, but then down here we're getting a little bit more detail in the fur with the EOS R, so it kind of goes back and forth at which one gets more detail. And at 25,600 is where I would say the EOS R completely just falls apart. The A6600, it doesn't look amazing, but for 25,600 ISO, it actually looks pretty amazing. Usually when I'm trying to decide between a Canon and a Sony, I've been in the past going to Canon primarily because I like the way their colors are handled. I feel like I'm able to get richer colors out of Canon. It's not saying it's better colors, but it's just my personal preference with my style of shooting. But I'm just kind of flipping through different colored lights to kind of see how skin tones are handled under different lighting conditions. It's kind of tricky. In some colors, I definitely think the Canon looks better, and in some colors, I think the Sony actually looks better. In general, I would still prefer the Canon colors and look, but Sony's been really putting in some work in their colors, so it's actually looking really dang good. Keep in mind that the EOS R isn't shooting in 4K, just in HD. That's usually the setting I shoot in, because with the EOS R, you have to crop in if you want to get 4K. But man, look how sharp this A6600 is. You could zoom way into this thing and just see all the detail. And of course with Sony's, you have the whole lineup of color profiles. You have no picture profile. My favorite to shoot in is actually HLG. I generally do HLG2, and then I apply my LUTs, link in description, specifically designed for the A6400, but they apply pretty much the same to the A6600. Anyways, let's start wrapping this up. Now, when this camera was first announced, it was priced at $1,398, or basically $1,400, which definitely seemed a little bit high considering that, you know, the A7 III is not that much more. But now it's dropped down to under $1,200. But I definitely think that price is justified because this does feel much more like a professional camera. We got a headphone jack, we got a mic jack, that really good battery life, and oh, check this out. I have an external monitor plugged into it through the HDMI, and I can still record, and I still have this display that's usable back here, because some cameras, when you plug it into HDMI out, this screen back here turns off. And also I maintain eye autofocus and all that still while recording in 4K with the external monitor attached and all that, so that is good news. And it's also an E-mount, so you know, if you have an E-mount lens collection already, that can just slap straight onto here. But I really like the lenses that are designed specifically for APS-C size sensors. It's going to really utilize utilize the capabilities of a lens when you get a lens specifically for a smaller sensor, and they're a fraction of the cost. And it is technically an APS-C size sensor, but APS-C is kind of a range of sizes, and this is definitely on the larger end of APS-C. We're dealing with a crop factor of about 1.5 rather than 1.6, so that can make a difference. And just using this camera pretty heavily for the last couple weeks, I just really like this camera because it just didn't feel like there were that many shortcomings. All the features I was expecting out of the camera are there, and they work pretty much as well as I expected. Of course, Sony's menu system can be notorious for being complicated, but first thing you should do when you get this camera is go and custom build your favorite items and put it all in that one screen, so you never have to leave that one menu screen. Everything is right there. This might very well be my favorite APS-C camera as of right now, the a6600 with this small rig cage. And two lenses I would probably personally get first is this 10 to 18 for vlogging, and also the 16 to 55 f2.8 is a pretty solid kit to have with this. The lens that came with it was the 18 to 135, and it's nothing special of a lens, but the image stabilization is really good. The zoom range is awesome. It's really not a bad starter lens. I think the biggest competitor to the a6600 is this Canon M6 Mark II, which is a bit of a less expensive camera, but this is also a very impressive one. I'm honestly on the fence. I always heavily lean towards Canon because I always liked the way their images look naturally, but the a6600 feels like there's just less limitations. And another thing, Canon was always great at not overheating, and Sony's always overheated, but here it's kind of vice versa now. I don't know, should I switch to Sony? I think what I'm gonna have to do is shoot these side by side and make a little split screen and ask you guys which camera you like better without telling you which camera is which. But that is something we're gonna have to save for another video. But overall, a6600, really solid. I'm genuinely impressed. Anyways, let's wrap this up by reading a few comments from my last video, which was all about the GoPro Hero 8 versus a $119 knockoff version of the GoPro. Christopher says, is this a GoPro ad? The other one looks like cell phone footage from 10 years ago. I mean, GoPro's really done a great job making a small camera and small sensor look pretty good. I think a big reason why we're so afraid of smaller sensors is because we've known them in the past to be so bad and limiting, but they're getting so much better now. This seems nifty in its own way, but really there's a peace of mind that comes with sticking to the legit brand, even if it's a bit more expensive. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to cameras, I get messages from all kinds of unknown camera manufacturers, and they almost always disappoint, so that's why I usually stick to the name brands: Sony, Canon, Fuji, Nikon, those big guys. Like, even if it comes with a warranty, you never know, that camera company might just shut down one day. Seems like the Insta360 ONE R is the only camera that came out recently that can compete with the GoPro. I'd agree with that. I'm still happy with my GoPro Hero 5. I use it almost every day as a dash cam and helmet cam. The Hero 5, not a bad camera. I literally just bought one after I saw how inexpensive you could get one for. Where is it? I think I got it for like $139. I plan on just keeping it in my Jeep at all times, so whenever I want to do a little bit of vlogging inside the car, I can always just reach over, hit it. Oh, whatever, it's right here, literally right in front of me. I just bought this. The stabilization on the 5 isn't as good as on the 6, 7, or 8, but I plan on just kind of mounting this on my windshield with a suction cup and just leaving it there. So I don't think I need that much stabilization anyways, so pretty good buy, I think. Maybe you could just get some more sleep for your eye bags. Yeah, I'm always struggling with trying to make my eye bags not so bad. How is it right now? Zoom in. How's it look? Is it bad? It's always bad, man. Why do I have it? I slept a decent. I think I slept like 6 hours. That's not terrible, right? Yeah. Anyways, let's call it a wrap. I'll see you guys later. See ya.